someone asks how you're doing and you say fine, even though you're falling apart inside. You have so much going on in your head, so many emotions swirling around, but when it's time to actually say something, the words just won't come. You freeze, you deflect, you change the subject, and people think you're cold, distant, or just don't care. But that's not it at all. You feel everything, sometimes too much. You just can't get it out, and it's isolating in ways people who can easily share their feelings will never understand. If this is you, if you're carrying everything alone because expressing it feels impossible, yeah, let's talk about why this happens and what you can actually do about it. But before we get into it, if this is hitting home, hit subscribe on Mura Psychology. We're breaking down the psychology that makes you who you are. Here's what people don't get. You're not being difficult on purpose. You're not trying to shut people out. You want to share. You want to connect. But there's this massive gap between what you're feeling and what you can actually say. It's like your emotions are locked behind a door and you lost the key years ago. You know they're there. You can feel them pressing against that door. But getting them out? That feels dangerous, scary, impossible. So you keep them locked up. And everyone on the outside thinks you're fine because you've gotten so good at pretending. And look, this isn't just about being shy or introverted. Plenty of introverts can express their feelings just fine when they need to. This is different. This is about something inside you that shuts down the second you try to be emotionally honest. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's years of learning that expressing feelings gets you hurt. Whatever it is, it's controlling your life, and it's keeping you from the kind of connections you actually want. Think about what this costs you. Relationships that could have been deeper stayed surface level because you couldn't open up. People who wanted to help you gave up because you wouldn't let them in. Opportunities to be understood, to be seen, to be supported, all lost because you couldn't find the words. And the worst part? You're fully aware of it. You know you're doing it. You just don't know how to stop. The first thing happening is you probably learned early that expressing feelings wasn't safe. Maybe you cried as a kid and got told to stop being dramatic. Maybe you shared something vulnerable and got laughed at or dismissed. Maybe your family just didn't do emotions, and talking about feelings was awkward or taboo. So your brain learned a simple equation. Expressing feelings equals pain or rejection. Better to stay quiet. Better to keep it inside. And that programming stuck. Even now, as an adult in different circumstances, your brain still operates from that old fear. And here's the thing about childhood programming. It's not logical. Your adult brain knows that the people in your life now aren't the ones who hurt you back then, but your nervous system doesn't care. It remembers. And the second you think about being vulnerable, it throws up every defense mechanism it has. Your throat tightens. Your mind goes blank. You change the subject, not because you want to, but because your body is trying to protect you from a danger that doesn't even exist anymore. The second thing is, you've internalized the idea that your feelings are a burden. Somewhere along the way, you got the message that other people's problems are more important than yours, that expressing what you're going through is selfish, attention-seeking, or too much. So you minimize. You tell yourself it's not that bad. Other people have it worse. You don't want to bother anyone with your stuff. And you carry everything alone because asking for support feels like imposing on people who have their own lives to deal with. But here's what you need to understand. Your feelings aren't a burden. They're part of being human. Everyone has emotions. Everyone struggles sometimes. And the people who care about you actually want to know what's going on with you. They want to support you, but they can't if you won't let them. By keeping everything inside, you're not protecting them. You're just isolating yourself. And that isolation is probably causing you more pain than sharing ever would. The third thing is, you don't have the language for what you're feeling. A lot of people who struggle to express feelings were never taught emotional vocabulary. They know they feel bad, but they can't pinpoint if it's sadness, frustration, anxiety, or something else. They experience this swirl of emotions, but don't have words to describe it. So when someone asks what's wrong, they genuinely don't know what to say. It's not that they're hiding it, it's that they can't identify it clearly enough to put it into words. And this is fixable. You can learn emotional vocabulary. You can start noticing your feelings and labeling them. Am I anxious? Am I angry? Am I disappointed? The more you practice naming what you're feeling, the easier it becomes to express it. Start small. Even just telling yourself what you're feeling is progress. You don't have to share it with anyone else yet. Just get comfortable identifying it internally. Over time, that makes external expression easier. The fourth thing is you're terrified of being misunderstood or judged. You've probably had experiences where you tried to explain how you felt and the other person didn't get it. They minimized it. They told you you're overreacting. They made you feel stupid for feeling that way. And now you're scared to try again. Because what if they judge you? What if they think you're weak? What if they use your vulnerability against you later? Those fears are real and they're powerful, but they're also keeping you trapped. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will respond the way you need. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't express yourself. It just means you need to be selective about who you share with. Find people who've earned your trust, people who've shown they can handle vulnerability without weaponizing it. Start there. You don't have to pour your heart out to everyone, but you do need at least one or two people you can be real with, because carrying everything alone is not sustainable. The fifth thing is expressing feelings feels like losing control. When you keep everything inside, you maintain a sense of control over how you're perceived. You seem fine, put together, strong, but the second you open up, you lose that control. People see the messy, struggling parts of you, and that feels vulnerable in a way that's almost unbearable. So you keep the mask on. You keep performing okay even when you're not, because at least then you're in control of the narrative. But here's what you're missing. That control is an illusion, because keeping everything inside doesn't make it go away. It just means you're dealing with it alone, and eventually it leaks out anyway, through irritability, through isolation, through anxiety or depression or physical symptoms. You're not actually controlling anything. You're just delaying the inevitable while making it harder on yourself. So what do you actually do if this is you? First, start small. You don't have to share your deepest feelings with everyone. Pick one safe person, one small thing. Test the waters. See how it feels to be a little vulnerable. And if it goes well, try again. Building this skill is gradual. It's not about suddenly becoming an open book. It's about taking small steps toward being more honest about what's going on inside you. Second, practice naming your emotions privately. Get a journal. Write down what you're feeling, even if it's messy and unclear. You're sad? Write it. You're angry? Write it. You don't know what you're feeling? Write that too. The act of putting it into words, even just for yourself, helps build the skill of emotional expression, and over time, it'll get easier to share with others. Third, remind yourself that expressing feelings doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Everyone has emotions. Everyone struggles. And the people who matter won't judge you for being real with them. In fact, they'll probably respect you more for it, because vulnerability takes courage, and honesty builds deeper connections than pretending ever could. Fourth, give yourself permission to be imperfect at this. You're going to stumble. You're going to overshare sometimes or undershare other times. You're going to say things awkwardly or cry when you didn't mean to. That's okay. You're learning, and learning is messy. But every attempt, even the awkward ones, is progress. You're rewiring years of conditioning. That doesn't happen overnight. And here's the thing about expressing feelings that nobody talks about. It gets easier the more you do it. The first time is terrifying. The second time is still hard. But by the 10th time, it's not as scary. Your brain starts to realize that opening up doesn't always lead to pain, that people can handle your emotions, that vulnerability can actually bring you closer to others instead of pushing them away, and slowly, that old programming starts to lose its grip. If you're someone who bottles everything up, who feels alone even when surrounded by people, who wants to connect but doesn't know how, start today. Not with some grand gesture, just with one small, honest moment. Tell someone one true thing about how you're feeling. See what happens. Chances are it won't be as bad as you fear, and even if it is, you'll survive it, because you've survived everything else up until now. The next time someone asks how you're doing, and you instinctively say, fine, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is that true? And if it's not, try something different. Try saying, actually, I've been struggling a bit, and see where it goes. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to break down crying. Just crack the door open a little. Let someone see a glimpse of what's really going on. That's how connection starts. If this hit home, if you've been carrying everything alone for too long, know that it doesn't have to stay this way. You can learn to express yourself. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes finding safe people, but it's possible. And the relief of finally being seen, finally being understood, finally not having to pretend anymore, it's worth every awkward, scary step it takes to get there. Subscribe to Mura Psychology if you want more real talk about emotions and the psychology behind why we do what we do. Remember, struggling to express feelings isn't a permanent flaw. It's a learned response to past pain. And what was learned can be unlearned. You can build this skill. You can find your
your voice, and you can create the kind of connections where you don't have to hide. It starts with one small step, one honest moment, one person you trust, and it grows from there. You're not broken, you're just scared, and that's okay. But don't let that fear keep you isolated forever. You deserve to be known, and that starts with letting people in.